Well, we're underneath the hood of our 1968 Plymouth Roadrunner barn find car. All we did was wash this car up, get all the spiders and mice and everything out of it, and wash it up really good just to go ahead and present it to you. So we're going to do the engine compartment right now. As you can still see, it has the original sound deadener, heat insulator underneath the hood of the vehicle. It still has the original rubber mat that comes, the seal that comes onto the core support. Keep all the air going through the radiator. It has the original 24-inch Mopar radiator in it with the round top on it, which would, in this case, designate 323 gears. Has a brand new battery, which we just recently installed. New terminal ends on it, just because the ends were a little bit corroded just through the age being used, so we put new ends on it. The motor hasn't been spray canned or repainted or resealed or anything, and it doesn't leak. From what I can see, the engine's never been apart. It still retained its original water pump, engine block, cast iron intake manifold, the original cast iron exhaust manifolds, the original Carter AVS carburetor with the original fuel line that's still intact on it. Also the Prestolite distributor that came with the car. It does have a set of updated Chrysler high silicone plug wires on it. It has power steering. It does not have power brakes, but it does have a dual stage master cylinder with it. As you saw from our interior presentation, the the wiper motor does work in it. It does have its original equipment, washer, bottle, and it's still all intact. This car is as original as you could possibly find a 1968 Roadrunner. Nothing's been spray canned or painted or upgraded in any way. This is just the way we got the car. You can see it's not been repainted underneath the engine compartment anywhere. This is still all the original paint. It does have its original core support in it with the numbers on the core support. Not only that, it still retains its original fender tag with our little metal tab, which is usually removed from most of them. This one still has it intact. This car is as original as it was in 1968 when it left the factory. Everything is still intact on it. It's never been disrupted or bumped in any way. We're going to show you all the aesthetics on the outside to show you every little imperfection we can, and there are quite a few. A little paint blister right here on the inside. It's just a blister though. It's not rusted through or anything like that. Great engine compartment, 335 horsepower, advertised horsepower on these Roadrunners in '68 when they were released. It is the hypo motor that came in the car from what we can tell. So we're going to go around the outside and show you everything you need to fix on this if you're going to buy it. Hi, you're at Hangsters in Daytona Beach, Florida, and today we're going to do something a little different for you. We always show you nice cars, everything done, everything nice and shiny, nice and fit and polished and ready to go. This car is not that. This car is a barn find, and this is just the way we received this vehicle. Literally a barn find. We're going to go over it with you. We're going to show you all the problems that I can see on the outside, the undercarriage, interior, everything, to help you with your purchase of the car. And you're going to be able to buy this car for substantially less than you would one that's completely done. We're going to present it that way for a short period of time, and if it doesn't sell that way, we're going to go ahead and do it, and then you're going to pay some premium for it, because it is a correct 1968 Roadrunner with all the paperwork for this guy too. So let's get started. The fit on this car is actually very nice, about 1/8 of an inch the whole way around, as you can see on the hood, and a little bit tighter on this end right here. I don't know why, but it is. Car's never been bumped anywhere. Chrome on it's actually very nice. It does have a little tiny bit of patina, but hardly any to even speak of. Plymouth designation on the front, really nice. Headlight bezels, the trim around them is absolutely beautiful yet, and original, never disrupted. The grille itself, there's a little tiny bit of a kink here, and there's a chunk missing right here. One of these little squares has to be up here. I don't know what happened to it, where it went. At any rate, you're going to have to find either another grill or one that's damaged that you can just get one square out of and replace this little piece, and then you'll have a flawless grill. The anodization on it is very nice, and the fit's very nice. Same thing with this headlight bezel here. All the anodized aluminum on it is just as sweet as can be. The bumper fitment in the front is just about spot on. You're not going to get it much better than that. Really nice bumper fitment. A little tiny bit of patina on it. I would not replace it. I would just polish it and leave it alone. There's a little, I remember a little kinky here, right here. There's a little dingy there that somebody banged into something. Could be pounded back out, pulled back out, not an issue. Not certainly enough to replace the front bumper on this car. It is the correct hood for the car. It's never been damaged. The finish on this car shines about the same as the pavement in our parking lot. Definitely needs a paint job. This car, you can make an attempt to go ahead and buff it out. I don't think that's going to do a whole lot for you. Might do a short term, make it look a little bit better, but it's still not going to make it shine as though it should. So it's going to need a paint job, but it's not going to require a whole lot of body work either. So that's the front end of our car. Let's see what's on our side. Okay, side of our 68 Roadrunner barn find. Nice tin everywhere. This car has been really a nice solid car. Fitment of the hood to the cowl to the fender to the door could not be any better. It's really as nice as you could possibly hope for. It does have a tinted windshield in the front, which I think that shows it on the window sticker, which we do have paperwork for this car. The original wiper arms and blades for this car still intact. Dashboard where it transitions to the base of the windshield, nice and clear and crisp as it should be. The VIN tag with the correct six-sided rivets still intact on them. The dashboard has no cracks whatsoever on the padded dash in this vehicle, absolutely none. Just nice fitment across the front of that windshield area. Roadrunner designation, we got our little Roadrunner guy there. Fender to the front door, to the rocker panel, you're not going to get any nicer than that. It's really nice. Remote mirror on the side, tinted glass on the side too from what I can see. Rubber resilient around the wing area. I know the rubber around here is going to need replaced. It still seals, but it's definitely going to need replaced. A little bit of patina on the door handle itself, certainly nothing that would designate that you replace it. You could get away with using it. Fitment of the door to the quarter panel, you're not going to get much better than that. Big blister here. There's definitely some rust starting to come through here. It does not go underneath past where the quarter panel transitions onto the rocker panel. That's the only place where it's starting to swell. The rest of it is nice and solid. It's all tin here. So that's one thing that you do have to address is that. That's number one, other than the paint and some soft trim. Roof itself, there's no dents or marks or distortions whatsoever in it. The drip rail molding, no dinghies or marks or anything on it whatsoever either. Sail panel as nice as can possibly be. Trim around the rear window and the hatch shelf. The hatch shelf appears to still be original, as does the interior of this car, which you'll see is really impressive, the interior of this car. It had to be in a dark area somewhere in a garage that was dry because the interior is absolutely stunning in this car. Again, big paint blister there. You're going to have to address that. A little bit of something here, but it's tin. Now someone has addressed this down here, and I don't know what their thought process was. That's supposed to roll under. So for whatever reason, when they repaired this, which it still retains its original quarter panels, which we'll show you in the trunk here, but this piece here should roll under instead of being straight down. But it feels like it's solid inside. I have no idea what they did. You're going to have to redo that. That's something that needs done. So you got that piece there, and you got this little bit over here. Original quarter panel does not need replaced. It's all tin and it's all solid everywhere. No Bondo, no one has done anything like that through the years. Does have our Firestone Firehawk Indy tires on it, all four brand spanking new on the car. New brakes all around, so you won't have any issues mechanically with the car. You could turn this car on and drive it anywhere you want in the lower 48 and you'd have no problem whatsoever with it. Let's go out back, see what we can find there. Okay, we don't usually do a trunk on our walk around on this thing, but I'm going to in this particular car because according to the window sticker build sheet, this car came with hubcaps on it. There's your 4 original hubcaps that came with the car. There's the extra wheel. There's your tire iron. The jack is right where it's supposed to be. There's the original wheel style radio that goes with the car. The floor is, someone's repainted this floor in here for whatever reason. Everything is solid as a rock, though. There's no issues with any rust or deterioration on the floor pans themselves. The quarter panels are the original quarter panels, and they still retain all their original splatter undercoating that Chrysler installed from the factory. There is also a mat for the trunk area. And notice this is it's coming down. We should glue this back up, but that is the original sticker for the jacking instructions for this car for 1968. I definitely would not want to lose that or replace it with an updated one. We'll glue that in place. None of this has been repainted before. It's all original nice. And also, I don't know if Devin will show you some of the pictures. We'll try to point some of this out. But none of the lips on this vehicle, whether it's on the trunk, the hood, or the doors where the rollovers are, have any deterioration or rust whatsoever. Absolutely none. So we're going to close the trunk and keep rolling. Okay, back end of our car. It shines like the front, just like the carpeting or the driveway out front. You get the same texture. Again, but the fit, as you can see, this car's never been bumped, and the fit of this rear deck to the quarter panels, everything is just as though it should be. The tail lights themselves are nice and shiny and clean yet. A little tiny, tiny bit of patina on the chrome ends. This is anodized aluminum through this section here, and it's just as nice as you'd ever want to find. This tail light's the same way, nice and clean and clear. Again, the minor, minor patina on it that you would never think of replacing this with. A newer one. The rear bumper, again, a little tiny, you won't see it in the video, but there are little tiny specks, hardly noticeable. I would just hit it with a buffer and leave it alone. No marks on the back bumper, and the fitment is as nice as you're ever going to find. That bumper just is aligned just as nicely as you could hope to ever have one. Great back end of the car. 2 turn downs. This is a California car, so it didn't have, even though it has the upgraded interior, it does not have the extensions out the back. They weren't legal for California issued vehicles at that point. They had to transition out before the end of the bumper. EPA and who knows who else got involved in that one. So the only thing we have is a few issues on this side, and nothing on the back end, really nothing on the front end other than that little tiny piece missing in the grille. And we're going to do one more side and show you what we got. Okay, last side of our little Roadrunner, 1968. Again, you can see the quarter panel. It's all tin. Again, somebody did something with the bottoms of these. There must have been some pinholes or something. I have no idea what their thought process. This is supposed to roll under starting here, and they have it going straight down. That one you'll have to figure out. Again, the molding around the back window. And by the way, the back glass is flawless. All the glass on this car is flawless. There's no scratches or marks or deterioration in any way around it. Nice as can possibly be. Quarter panel, very, very straight. Big old paint blister right down here. Starting to come through a little bit on this side. And we got one to match the one on the other side, right here. Quarter to door. Nice fitment. Could go in just a hair, a little adjustment. That's no big deal. Drip rail, same as the other side, no marks whatsoever, none, absolutely none. The wipes, whiskers actually are not in bad shape. They're actually fairly good. The seal around the back window is actually good, but this rubber should be replaced on both sides. Where the see, it's starting to weather, and it really needs to be replaced for your window seal. Doors, everything closes on this car as it should, just as nicely as it was when it was new. Forgot to mention, but the other side, the trim around the window is just as straight and nice as you'd ever want to find. Again, the door, no dents, no dingies, no nothing on it. Our little Roadrunner guy again. Nice fitment on that. I don't feel anything at the bottom of the fenders at all. correct single mast, solid mast antenna for the front. Again, look at the fitment of this, just as sweet as could possibly be. Side marker lamps all around were just as nice as can possibly be. There it is. There you have it. That's a 1968 Roadrunner barn find. This is the way this thing came out of a building. We cleaned it, evicted all the mice and spiders, probably a couple snakes too, I don't know. But the car just got washed and cleaned. It runs exemplary. There's not a single mechanical issue that you can point out on this vehicle. The only issues are the cosmetic ones that I just went around now and pointed out. We just did an undercarriage video presentation, and there was nothing really to point out underneath other than freshen it up. That's pretty much it. The car is a rare find to find one in this original condition, with these very few minor repairs that need to be made cosmetically. That's it. And the key to this whole thing is that we do have all the paperwork for this car, including the window sticker that this car was produced with. So you can see all its original options to go along with, I didn't neglect to mention also the serial number in the quarter panel on the driver's side of this car also, which coincides with the radiator core support and everything on your window tag or fender tag. Kind of a rare find. We're going to put it up as a barn find for a short period of time and see what response we get on it. It's going to be priced very, very, very competitively, so that anybody that's in the market for a Roadrunner, we're going to give you so much room to work and repaint this car. There's no way you're not going to want to buy the car. But if you don't, sometime after the first of the year, we're going to take the car. At that point, assuming we have the shop to do it, we're going to go ahead and do the car ourselves. We'll repaint the car, which is all that really needs done at this point. A couple issues on the quarter panel. There's a couple blisters at the joining part of the rocker panel and quarter panel. And the interior you're not even going to touch. And you'll see that presentation here shortly. It's available here at Hanksters in Daytona Beach, Florida. And you really need to look at this one, because this is something that will save you $10,000 if you buy the car now. So take a look at it. Well, we're on our last step here, I think, interior presentation of our 68 Roadrunner barn find car. This interior is absolutely as nice as it was when it left the factory in 1968. Headliner is tight as a drum. None of the stitching coming loose on the sun visors themselves, still original. It needs tightened, but no deterioration on the mirror, no milkiness, no cracks on the padded dash pad itself, absolutely none, or on the padded portion below. Nice, clear, crystal clear instrumentation in it, which all works, by the way. It all does function. Your wafer switches are really nice. The chrome is not deteriorated on them, nor is it on the horn ring or your trident for the horn, or the padded center part. Functional dome light. Hat rack in the back is absolutely as it was when it left the factory. Front seats, rear seats, everything matches. The interior is original and really, really nice. Not deteriorated in any way. Your side panels in the back and the painted top portion of it, just as nice as you'd ever want to find. And the same carries through to the front door panels. You can see everything is nice and fresh and clean. The paint on top isn't worn off on it or anything. Column shift car, just as nice an interior as you'd ever want to find. Seat belts in the rear and seat belts in the front. You got both of them, front and rear seat belts in this car. Trio of gauges underneath the dash that all function. Oh boy, this thing's such a nice car for what it. I can't believe that it's almost worth. Unbelievable. Mickey Mouse radio, but we do have the wheel radio that's in the trunk that is correct for this vehicle. A real expensive piece to replace if you go to do that. I don't see a single thing in this car that has any deterioration or wear at all. All the trim around the inside of it, the headliner, the carpeting is nice and black and clean and original. It doesn't need any dressing whatsoever. The dash doesn't need any freshening up anywhere. This car is as it was in 1968 when it left the factory. So the only thing you really have to address on this car is some aesthetic underneath and around the body, and you're good to go. This is as nice a one as you ever find. This is a true barn find. All we did was clean it, and that's what you got. We're going to show you some paperwork that we have for it too. And there's a build sheet underneath the back seat. We got to rip it out, but it's never been out, so I'm sure it's still under there. But I do have a window sticker and other things to present to you along with this. So this is at Hanksters in Daytona Beach. Definitely take a look at this car. Okay, this is some documentation that we wanted to show you that we have for our Barn Find 68 Roadrunner. It is the correct motor, engine, rear end, transmission. Everything on this car is correct. Tons of receipts. I don't have time to go through them all, but there's slews of receipts through the years, plus a bill of sale where the car was sold in 1989 to an individual. Original warranty book in the original Mopar wrapper that it comes with, and the original owner vehicle information when it was sold in Hollywood, California back in 1968 yet. And a great piece of, and you'll see a close-up. Devin's going to show you a good close-up of this. This is the actual window sticker for this car. Total cost of $33.76, showing all the options and things that this vehicle had when it was produced for Phil Roch Chrysler in Hollywood, California back in 1968. So we do have everything. Also the build sheet, we have to tear the back seat out, but the build sheet's underneath the back seat. We have to tear it out of there and get a copy of that for you. But we do have all the paperwork for this vehicle. It's a real deal. It's a no-hit body. The car is just as straight and nice a vehicle as you'll ever find. You're going to save a lot of money on this vehicle by buying it in its present condition that's drivable anywhere that you want to take it, and refining the car to whatever degree you deem appropriate. But it's going to be short-lived because, like I said, if we don't have something by the first part of the year, we're going to go ahead and do the car ourselves. It's a car that justifies being done correctly. So right now it needs a paint job and a few little tiny spots fixed on the sides of it, and that's it. Nothing mechanical, nothing underneath, and nothing in the interior, absolutely nothing. And everything mechanically works and electrically works on this car. So take a look at it. Okay, we're in our 68 Plymouth Roadrunner barn find, an actual barn find. We're going to do interior presentation. We just did the undercarriage, and I know how this car runs because I drove it for about 3-4 days. So there's absolutely no issues whatsoever mechanically. What it does have is a, let's see if it has a horn. Has our beep beep horn. It does have wipers that work. Has a left turn signal that indicates. Has a right turn signal that indicates. Has a temperature gauge that's coming up, and an alternator that is functioning here, and a fuel gauge that shows we're a little under 1/4 of a tank of gas. But it also has a trio of gauges underneath here that gives you the actual coolant temperature and the voltmeter and the oil pressure gauge to show you your actual engine oil pressure. Everything on this car works. The car runs and drives absolutely brand new. So we're going to go for a ride and show you. Second gear, third gear, just as nice and clean and crisp as you'd ever want to have. Down the road, no hands, nice and straight as could be. Let's see about brakes, no hands, what happens. Brakes, no hands. Alright. This is a nice, tight, solid running Roadrunner. And the only thing wrong with this vehicle is what you can see. And we're going to do a walk around and point everything out to you that I can see and that I know, which I've gone over this car quite a bit, that's wrong with it. And it's just all cosmetic, and that's it. There is absolutely nothing structural, There's absolutely nothing mechanically wrong with it. This car is as great a car as you'll ever find. A couple cosmetic issues, and we're going to point them out, and that's it. And you can buy this car at Hankster's at a really reasonable price, but you got to hurry up because we're not going to leave it at that price very long. If we have an opening where we can take the car and do the paint work on it and do the little issues that it has around it, we're going to do it. And it's going to be a lot more money than what you can buy for now. We good? We're good. Car pulls like a freight train, runs great, shifts nice and clean. Like I said, it does absolutely nothing wrong. This car mechanically is as straight and nice a car as you could ever buy. Now, you can pay 10, 15 grand more for it than what we're going to ask for it, and you're not going to get a better car. The only thing that's going to be is the issues that are cosmetic that we're going to point out to you. That's it. That's all. Look at this. No hands, just straight as can be. And we're starting to drift over here long enough. We addressed all the safety issues that this car had. We put new tires on it, new brakes. The exhaust system is as new, so we didn't have to replace it. We just went over the car to make sure everything was right on it, and that's what you're getting. You're getting the car. The oil and filter was changed in it, new battery in it, a brand spanking new battery. I think we put one hose on it. I don't remember what it was. I think we put one radiator hose or something on it. But yeah, mechanically this thing is as tight and straight as you'll ever find a car. Fantastic car. Hi, we're underneath our 1968 Plymouth Roadrunner. This car is a real barn find. We did something a little different this time with it. We have a bunch of cars we're trying to get ready and get videoed, but this car we just don't have a chance to go ahead and redo. It does need paint work. It does need some attention, but what you got is a really solid car. Underneath, body-wise, interior-wise, and 100% mechanically. So we're going to present the undercarriage to you now. Heavy-duty drum brakes in the front. Of course, Chrysler heavy-duty sway bar. There's no leaks on the steering box, which appears to have been replaced at some point. It's painted blue, so I'm going to guess it's either a different ratio box or an aftermarket box of some sort. But at any rate, it steers well, does have power steering, and it does not leak. Notice the engine itself also, no leakage. No leakage on the bell housing area or the 727 transmission that's in this car also. The original tranny pulling lines are still intact and go forward. Someone through the years has put a brand new set. They appear to be Monroe shocks on the front. They're blue. Really a nice set of shocks. Fairly fresh looking. The manifold pipes are replacement, and you can see that the exhaust system in this car is not brand new, but maybe a couple years old, but there's certainly no deterioration whatsoever in it. It still has its original coating on it yet. The subframes in this thing and your floor pans where they transition onto the subframes are totally undisrupted. No rust whatsoever on them, where they usually have some calluses and some rust and some corrosion. This car does not have any. Original floor pans in this car. Really nice, and you can see the undercarriage in this car. We did not rattle can anything on it. We didn't do anything other than blow out all the spider nests and cobwebs and everything that were underneath this vehicle. So it is as it is original. We're not trying to hide anything from you. We're trying to show you everything that this car has. You're buying it as a barn find. Heavy-duty torsion bars, of course. No leakage from the speedometer or the tail shaft on this vehicle. Again, no jack marks on the transitional piece of bracing between the two subframe ends. The skirts, none of that has any issues whatsoever. Everything looks just as nice and solid as can be. It still retains most, like 90% of its splatter coat sound deadener that Chrysler installed on these vehicles new from the factory. Parking brake is still there and functional. Again, you can see a little tiny bit of surface, I don't even know you want to call it surface rust. It's not even enough to, more discoloration. Absolutely no deteriorated metal in the vehicle, though, not that I can see from this point. Your structural bracing for the floor pans are good on both sides and still, again, 100% original. It appears to be a new U-joint on the drive shaft in the front. A new parking brake cable installed to the rear part, which is still original. Floor pans themselves don't have any jack marks on them. No one's tried to lift it up on the floor pans through the years. Rocker panels are still just as nice and solid under here as could possibly be. All your pinch welds are still intact. Original fuel line still intact there. Original brake lines with the spiral coating going toward the rear. All original, guys. This thing has not been modified, messed with. We didn't do any sandblasting or painting or anything to go ahead and rejuvenate the vehicle. We didn't do any restoration whatsoever on it. What you're seeing is the vehicle just the way it came out of the barn. So let's do the second half and we'll show you what we got there. Okay, second half of our little Roadrunner. Under chassis mufflers, both in excellent condition yet. You can see they're really in great condition. Not brand new, but they don't need to be replaced, certainly not. Again, the floor pans where the back part of the floor goes on to the transitional part where it goes up off over the rear differential. Just all original, nice, solid as could possibly be. Torque boxes for the springs on both sides, totally undisrupted, not corroded or rusted up in any way. Little tiny surface dust here and there, you know, for if you want to call it rust. It would come right off with a wire brush or just hit it with a spray can and it would cover it. It's not deteriorated structurally in any way. Tailpipes appear to be, these are, I'm going to call them 2 1/4. I'm going to say those are 2 1/8 going out to 2 turn downs. This car originated as a California car, so it's probably why it's survived to this degree today. It does have the original springs that are on the rear, which still have a nice curvature to them. Original gas tank, definitely not a replacement. 8 3/4 heavy duty rear end, original rear end that came with this car also. Substructure frames in the back are just as nice and clean as you'd ever want to find. Your floor pans in the back the same way, and we will do a trunk video to show you the floor and the trunk on this vehicle also. We normally don't do that. Devin just takes some still pictures of it, but I'm going to, whenever we do the outside, I'm going to show you the trunk on this vehicle either so that you can see how well preserved the car actually is. Air shocks in the back, I don't know who makes them, they're yellow, but they're newer air shocks in the back that do function. All the brake lines and everything are nice and clean and clear. New rubber fuel lines in the back and a new, you know what it is. One new brake line here in the back. Drop downs and the quarters are still nice. The like I said, the pans, that structural piece that ties the 2 subframes together in the back, as nice as you'd ever want to ever find one. And again, look, no leaks on the differential, no leaks on the transmission or the tail shaft or the engine or the bell housing area. There's nothing dripping whatsoever off of it. I don't see anything, guys. This is as nice an original, unmolested, unmessed with, unrestored 1968 Roadrunner that you will ever find. It's excellent driving car, which you'll see in our drive video. I did use it for a few days, so I know what the car runs like. Fantastic car, and again, the undercarriage speaks for itself. Also, heavy-duty drum brakes in the rear. You got 11x3s in the front, 11x2.5s in the back. All the original sound deadener undercoating still intact, where Chrysler put it. Sprayed in the same color on the inside part of the subframes, the way it was from the factory. This thing is totally undisrupted in any way. Take a look at it, because you're going to save yourself a lot of money if you go ahead and restore this car yourself. We're going to sell it as it is right now. If no one buys it, then we're going to fix it, and it's going to cost you a lot more money. So take a look at it.